Hi everyone, Bren here. Welcome to this week's garden update, and it's going to be a little bit chaotic. I'm just warning you in advance because it's currently about 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. I usually have the video completely finished by now, ready to post. So we'll see how we go. I don't like leaving it to this. I mean, I've never left it this late before, but it's just been another hectic week. There's actually a lot going on in my life at the moment which is affecting the garden. I'll tell you a couple of those things during the video, but one of them is that I've actually started a part-time job and I'm really struggling with the work-life balance at the moment. So I think it's just going to take me a bit of time, and yeah, hopefully next week I'll be a bit more organized with the video. But for the moment, I want to show you what's happening here, and there's going to be quite a number of changes in the garden, which is very exciting, but it's going to be a lot of work. Let's get into it now. I made a bit of progress in this part of the garden during the week. I got the tunnel up to protect the brassicas, and then I finished off the end of bed 1 and bed 2. You can see just here in those two sections. I cleared the weeds off the fence, and I made a start on setting up the trellis that's going to support the sweet peas. Thank you so much for all your advice with this tunnel. I did end up using some, clothes pegs to keep the netting nice and taut, to make sure that no birds or other little creatures get tangled up in it. Now the thing is, I think I made a bit of a mistake with this tunnel, because if you can see in here, the brassicas, the row of brassicas are quite close to the netting. And while that's okay now at the moment, once these plants get large, I don't know how that's going to work. They'll probably grow out this way, pushing the netting. It may not even work out. I might have to come in here and make this bed a little bit wider, or get some more of this and cut it so that I have more of a width, and use the one that's here elsewhere in the garden. I was also thinking that I might actually put a crop of something in here, maybe something that's quick growing like radishes, because it's a bit of a wasted space at the moment. And if I can grow an extra crop in here, I mean, it just makes this garden bed a lot more productive, because it's going to take quite some time now for these brassicas to grow large enough to fill out this space. So yeah, why not get something edible growing in here while we're waiting? I haven't planted out these two sections here at the back of the beds yet. I keep on flipping between maybe putting some flowers in here or edibles. I really don't know at the moment what to put in, but I do have a bit of a selection of seedlings that I can choose from, so hopefully I'll get that done by next week. And then over here along the back fence, you can see the fence desperately needs something to cover it, because it's literally fallen apart and it's a bit of an eyesore. So I think once I get this trellis up and the beautiful colourful sweet peas growing, it will just block that off and make this area a lot more visually pleasant. I noticed something kind of cool happening here. The deciduous tree behind me is starting to lose a lot of its leaves, and they seem to naturally be gathering here in the pathways, which got me thinking. I think I might rake up more of them and make the entire pathways full of these leaves. I could even just mow over them to scrunch them up into smaller pieces, but I think the colour of these will make a really nice contrast to the sugarcane mulch. It will, make the garden beds a bit more distinguished. As well as that, it's a great living mulch. It will break down eventually, and you never know, I may end up rearranging this area, and then knowing that the soil underneath here will be nice and healthy and being fed. Oh yeah, it just brings a lot more possibilities in the future for this space. Here's the tree in question. I am literally waiting for a leaf dump, because it's really interesting. I was talking to one of my neighbours. We have these trees on the street nearby, and they're a lot further along than this one is, quite a number of the leaves have already fallen off, but this one seems to be a bit behind, and it just got me thinking, I wonder if our house, our property, is in an area that's slightly warmer, like a bit of a, I don't know if you call it a microclimate, that's probably the wrong idea, the wrong name, but yeah, it's just interesting how nature works out. What I've been up to out in the garden this week, I really don't think is terribly interesting to show you, but it's something that has to be done. Let me explain what's going on. So my family and I have spent quite a number of hours clearing this section. It has got really overgrown, and I kind of left it that way because I knew there was no point in growing anything in here during the summer. So I'll just put a clip up of what it looked like last week or a few days ago. So you can see it was a weedy mess, and we've now cut a lot of it back, still a long way to go. What we are doing this for is we are actually renovating our house. So this entire area is going to be half deck, half extension. Oh, it's just, I think this is one of the reasons why I've been so stressed out lately, because there's a lot going on, a lot. I'll tell you more. Another thing that's happening out in the garden is the whole back section, well, not really the whole back section, part of the back section is going to be dug up for a storm water, I don't know the proper name, let's just call it a ditch. They have to dig it up and put rocks in it and then backfill it, because we are extending the roof line, which means there will be more water collection, and they just don't want the neighbours down the back to have like a lot of water going in and, you know, just saturating their land. So as part of the planning permission, we need to get that set up as well. So that will mean that most of the back garden will not be accessible for a number of months, which is okay because I have a plan, but yeah, it's just going to be a bit difficult. I'm just in my head, I'm thinking about selling the flowers next spring, but the plan is I'm very fortunate. I've been offered a little patch of land at one of my relatives' property, where I will be able to grow flowers there and possibly food as well. So come springtime, I will still have, you know, a large area to be able to grow. This here is the Fioja tree, which I'm going to attempt to transplant. I am so nervous about doing this. I need to research it because I'm not even sure how to do it properly, like whether I need to cut it back first. But I do not want to lose this tree. I've spent so long trying to grow it. So cross my fingers now that it transplants well, and I will show you how that goes over the next couple of weeks. Also in here there are some other plants that I want to move elsewhere. Like over here I have a couple of salvias, the Anthony Parker salvia. There are some agapanthus there. Over here I had lots of salvia plants that we've cut back, but I am going to dig them out because I usually cut them back anyway during winter time, and I know that if I dig them out and transplant them, they'll grow back grand. And then pretty much over here there's not really too much worth saving. I do have a number of geraniums here which I will dig out as well. It's starting to get dark. I better head off. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next Friday.